Josh and Frankie.
What a couple of dumb shits.
Hello, primates! You found Primus Tracks. Congratulations. There are many places to find Primus Tracks if you so desire. We are Primus Tracks on Instagram. We are at Primus Tracks on Threads. We have an email address. That is primustrackspod@gmail.com. Don't be fooled by imitators. And there is a Facebook page, also called Primus Tracks. Don't know if there are any imitators of Primus Tracks on Facebook, but we'll find out someday. I am Josh. I am one of the hosts of Primus Tracks. He is coming to you from the 39th floor of Primus Tracks Towers, where robot chickens and animatronic poultry abound. Frankie Berestein.
Hey, Josh. Hello, listeners.
Frankie, we are talking today about a track that is 39 seconds long. I think that might be a record because we usually combine the interstitials with the following track. I don't recall doing an hour on Granddad's Little Ditty. We could have.
Or Pork Chop, yeah.
Pork Chop probably deserves the Ken Burns treatment.
Or Hail Santa.
We missed an opportunity there.
Yeah.
We're making up for it today, folks, by talking about track 10 from your Of Whales and OWAW release called Robot Chicken. There are other things we do before we talk about the track, Frankie. One I wanted to point out is that you can support Primus Tracks in a lot of different ways. The easiest way, listen to the podcast, tell somebody about it, annoy them with it, make them question your sanity. Another way is to let the ads at the end of the podcast episode, let them run. I don't know what they say. I don't care. You probably won't buy the product anyway. Why would you? You are of discerning taste, and you are not some kind of mushhead who goes out and buys whatever your earbuds tell you to buy. As well, you can go over to Primus Tracks on Instagram and peep some of our sticker designs. Designed by Frankie, actually, with his beautiful drawings, printed by our friends over at Sticker Robot.
Legends.
Drop me a line on Instagram or email me, primustrackspod@gmail.com, and I'll send you some stickers for a low price.
Is there any continent where they haven't been plastered yet?
Stickers have made their way all over this planet, Frankie. What we haven't yet seen is one placed right on the crumbled nose of the Sphinx. That is one of my goals, is to get a Primus Track sticker there.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe on an emperor penguin in Antarctica. That would be pretty nice looking. And how about on a steamship bound for Madagascar?
That would be pretty rad.
Those are my 3 dreams. If you can help accomplish those, you have my eternal gratitude. Of course, the other way you can support the podcast is by going to patreon.com/Primus Tracks. There are many tiers of support over there. And we have a growing community over there, Frankie. We've added quite a few new friends recently.
Fantastic.
Very much so. It's a pleasure knowing you all. And on top of all that, Frankie, we have miscellaneous debris.
We told you about the upcoming reissues of Sailing the Seas of Cheese and Pork Soda on corresponding cheese melt and pork explosion vinyl. Now, the pattern that I've noticed with these reissues since a few years back is that each retailer tends to have their own variant. Have you noticed that?
And they're all in themed color schemes or skid marks. But
exactly.
these pork and cheese ones are quite interesting.
Each retailer will have their unique skid marks. That's right. So heads up, because Experience Vinyl has a Sailing the Seas of Cheese on Cheese Wheel vinyl LP and Pork Soda on Canned Ham vinyl. As you can guess, both are quite different to the versions that we talked about a few weeks back. Now, these are available from different retailers, but I mentioned Experience Vinyl because they have the best prices for both. So I recommend you make your way over there and you grab them before they're gone.
If you ever wanted your own flat circle of processed meat product, I think this is the easiest way to get it and enjoy it. Any word on the mix being used for each of these releases, Frankie?
I am not sure, but I would venture a hazardous guess and say that Seas of Cheese might be the Les Claypool 2013 mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing Pork Soda might be the same as the plain vinyl edition that came out in 2008 and was then reissued on 2018.
Our discerning audiophiles will let us know when they pick up their copies.
The blurbs on the websites make no mention about any new mixing or mastering.
Probably a standard reissue then.
Yeah, but they look so cool.
They do look pretty darn cool. I have a couple pieces of miscellaneous debris, Frankie. One, it's a small world, and I'm not talking about the children's song or the ride at Disneyland. Although I am happy to report that my mom, when she was a little girl, got stuck on the Small World ride when she went to Disney.
Oh, really?
Heard that song for about an hour and a half straight before they extracted her from the ride. So she never wants to hear that song again. I say it's a small world because my wife put up a new Facebook profile picture, and it had both of us in it, and I was wearing a Les Special shirt. And her cousin replied by asking, "Is Josh wearing a Les Special shirt?" My wife answered in the affirmative. Her cousin said, "Oh man, we just met Les Special on Jam Cruise, and we love that band now."
Wow.
Yes, so they're picking up fans all throughout my family, my extended family at this point. The other piece of miscellaneous debris I want to toss out there, Frankie, is our good friend Matt Weiniger, producer of Suck on This, Frizzle Fry, one of the many mad geniuses in the great band Beanpole.
And also Monolith of Phobos.
Grammy-winning producer. So this man, so many titles, so many great credits to his name. He's a good follow on Instagram, by the way, at Whiny. He tossed up a cryptic-looking story the other day, Frankie. Did you see it?
Yeah, I was intrigued.
It appeared to be different tracks of Lur's guitars, what I would assume would have been from Frizzle Fry because he had puppies playing over it. And I asked Matt if he was getting his wish of remixing Frizzle Fry, and he said no, but we have something cooking.
What?
I did not press further. I have no further information, but something is cooking between
Frizzle Fry
Matt
box
Weiniger
it.
and Primus.
Frizzle Fry box it?
Frankie, just throw caution to the wind, let your imagination run wild. What could it possibly be? Frizzle Fry box set? I don't know. Maybe, remember the frying pans they put out? Maybe they're going to groove the vinyl on there so you can play the vinyl on your record player? Or
Frizzle
play
Fry
the
Dolby
frying pan?
Dolby Atmos mix? Surround sound mix?
That would be pretty sweet. We don't know what it is. It's probably a low and slow cook, meaning we won't get that product for a while. We're going to have to wait patiently until it's done. But whatever it might be, I'm interested.
I don't want to wait for our lives to be over to hear what they're cooking.
Frankie has thrown down his microphone. He is running to Matt Weiniger's residence and pounding on the front door.
And I'm guessing Matt is probably busy as well with Next of Kin, right?
The second Beanpole release. We know that Derek's working on it. I would imagine he has brought in his buddies to help him out.
And it should come out this year.
While we are waiting for the forthcoming Beanpole release, let's talk about Robot Chicken, Frankie.
Yeah.
This one checks in at 39 seconds. It is track 10 on your Of Wales and Woe release. It, of course, is all Les Claypool. I enjoy the credit in your liner notes, which simply says, Les Claypool, miscellaneous instrumentation, vocals. And the vocals, 2 words. Quite a simple track. As we know, this was put together for the Robot Chicken television program. The market difference in your liner notes, Frankie, is that all the tracks are published by Longhorn Publishing, which is Les's publishing entity through BMI. However, this one is through 1050 Music, and I would imagine it's because he sold the tune, and it's publishing to the Robot Chicken people.
Yeah.
A 39-second track, Frankie. Do we have a live history or anything?
We do. I just wanted to point out before the live history that Les has said that South Park theme song has gotten him through airports quickly throughout the years. And I'm wondering what would happen if he were to pull the Robot Chicken card instead of the South Park one. So if somebody asked at the airport, oh, so you're a musician, what have you done? What if Les said, I made the Robot Chicken title track?
They'd say, right this way, sir. And he'd go into the TSA security room, full cavity search. And I remember him saying that the South Park song has pretty much gotten him through. They go, oh, you're that guy. Awesome. Head on through. Yeah, it's pretty great. Robot Chicken, probably not as notable, but certainly Les was requested of it. And I would imagine this was a quid pro quo to a degree in the sense that Seth Green appeared in Electric Apricot in a cameo role, and Les provided the theme song for Robot Chicken around the same time.
Yeah.
Roughly. And so these guys are doing each other some favors and having a good time together. What do you got on this one, Frankie?
Okay, so believe it or not, Robot Chicken has been performed 7 times. We have Chicago on March 22nd, 2008. Then we have Outside Lands Festival on 2008. We have the House of Blues in San Diego in 2009 with the Fungi Band, Cleveland. Then we have Red Rocks with Primus in 2010. Then we have Stubbs at Austin, Texas in 2011, which is a fantastic show, by the way, because it includes Hennepin Crawler. And then we have Brooklyn, New York, 2012, last known performance to date. And wow. Robot Chicken with Primus came about because, I don't know if you recall that since 2010, Les used to have this tiny keyboard on stage with him.
Yes.
So he would walk over there and then he would play Robot Chicken. Worthwhile mentioning that 2012 was a minute ago, and there was a VIP Q&A where a child requested Les perform Robot Chicken again, and in traditional Claypool fashion, he replied, I don't even know how that goes.
No matter how many times he says it, it's funny.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen Robot Chicken for a while in a live setting. Lots of teases of it. It would be a short, full performance anyway. But every once in a while, I recall the Outside Lands one because I was a webcast, and he walked over to that little keyboard, started tapping on it, and it sounded like Robot Chicken, and he stopped after about 8 seconds and then went about to the next tune, whatever it was. But it certainly caught my attention. Are you a Robot Chicken viewer, Frankie? Have you seen this program?
I am not a viewer, so would you care to share your experience with the show?
Certainly. I have to imagine this was, upon seeing it, it was probably like catnip for Les Claypool, being a stop-motion animation fan that he is. That's what this show's format is. It's stop-motion animation. It's chock full of all kind of pop culture parodies and some original content and some just unimaginably goofy stuff. And I have to say, it certainly resonated with me when I first saw it in 2005, which I believe is when it premiered.
Yes.
And so I was hanging out with my buddies, and we put on the Adult Swim, and there was Robot Chicken. And I have to say, Adult Swim in that time period was stacked. Venture Brothers, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Robot Chicken, of course, C-Lab 2021, Tom Goes to the Mayor was pretty funny. So there are a lot of great shows, and it would be interspersed with some anime programs that I didn't really get down with, but the goofball left field humor of these Adult Swim programs was just perfect for me at the time. So I recall watching the first few episodes of the first season in 2005, and I enjoyed it. I found it pretty funny.
Do
But
you
then,
still does your mind go to straight to Adult Swim whenever you see a hamburger and a bottle of soda?
no.
All right.
Shortly after that show premiered, Frankie, I moved to a different place and did not have a television. And so
Oh,
let alone cable TV, didn't have any of that. I did not see any more Robot Chicken, and I never went back to it, even though I've had opportunities in the intervening years. But I did appreciate it. I thought it was pretty funny, and I think it gained more notoriety for a Star Wars special or series of episodes that they did with the blessing of George Lucas, as I recall. And some buddies of mine who are huge Star Wars fans were looking forward to it and watched it, and I did not attend the screening with them. Not a Star Wars guy, Frankie.
really?
Yeah, never really have been. I've seen episodes 4, 5, and 6, and that's all.
Well, you're a Star Trek head, right?
More of a Trekker, yes, but
Yeah.
I even
you
haven't
never
been.
you never made the crossover to Star Wars.
No, never did. And really, I've been ignoring Trek for a while, too. So there's I just finally watched season 3 of Picard because season 1 was terrible. I heard season 2 was even worse, and I just didn't want to watch it. And then I was assured by multiple Trekkers whose opinions I respect that it was worthwhile. So I watched it.
Are the films with Chris Pine appreciated within the fan base?
That is a great question. I think they are highly divisive. I enjoy them.
I enjoy them as well. I think they're great.
Yeah. And I think I think I enjoy them because I am not so religiously married to the original series, and I'm okay with an alternate or timeline of events that's not in the Prime universe. There aren't too many programs I hold sacred, Frankie, and even Trek anymore. I just think they're screwing it all up. So what do I care? Robot Chicken, though, Frankie, I guess is technically still active. I read that Seth Green announced that there's something coming in 2025 of Robot Chicken, and I was pleased as punch that they've produced 220 episodes on 11 specials. I was completely unaware how prolific they were with this show. Although I will say the coolest thing I learned about Robot Chicken is the mad scientist is voiced by David Lynch.
Les had previously contributed music for other shows and films, but they never found their way to his records. So why do you think he put Robot Chicken on Wales and Woe?
I think it was probably composed around the time he was working on the Wales material and decided to throw it in. It's kind of it's a nice interstitial, and it certainly works to space or create space, excuse me, between Rumble of the Diesel and Filipino Ray. So I think it just served that purpose, and he had it laying around. So why not have a perfect dozen tracks for the record? I suppose I'm just this is all conjecture, of course. Obviously, South Park didn't make it to a record. Hey all, Josh jumping in here while editing to acknowledge that yes, the South Park theme did make it to the Chef Aid record. I was referring to Les Claypool and Primus records. Withhold your angry communications. And he was then tasked with Robot Chicken and went for that. I'm sure there were many others that he refused to record, despite being offered. You are privy, Frankie, to a recording that he made for a show that will remain nameless that never made it to air, right?
Yeah, that is Pentagon stuff. That's Area 51 stuff.
Well, they can't stop us all. No, I've heard tell of it. I know that you have as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so Seth Green, Frankie. How about Seth Green? Fan of his?
I've seen Seth Green on a few films.
Yeah. I really only know him as far as films from Austin Powers 2, but I first saw him in the second episode of The X-Files. Of course, it's a really important episode in the series mythology. He plays a stoner teenager who sees lights in the sky, and he shows Mulder where to go get a good vantage point for the lights in the sky above this army base. It's funny to go back to that episode and see him when I watch X-Files every so often. That, Austin Powers 2, and being the voice of, I think it's Chris in Family Guy. And other than that, haven't seen him in much else. What do you know him
So
from?
each robot chicken lasts about 12 minutes.
Yeah, they're nice and short. You could power through 220 episodes pretty fast, Frankie.
Okay.
It's stop motion animation. They take months. 12 minutes of footage takes ages, as you know, as our pal
Stop motion,
Webster Colcord told us.
What a fantastic format.
I don't have much else to say about this track. And it's so short. Actually, I want to do this, Frankie. I do want to play the whole thing. I want to quiz you on the miscellaneous instrumentation, which is how Les is credited on this. What instruments is Les Claypool playing on the Robot Chicken theme? I will play it, Frankie, and you can provide your answers. What instruments, Frankie, do you hear?
Do I hear guitar, maybe?
I think I do, on the upper register.
Some kind of synthesizer?
I think that's accurate.
Accordion?
Accordion? Are you? I definitely that keyboard that he plays on stage from time to time. That little one. Although that's been replaced by the double decker from the Kings tour. That follows him on the road all the time now.
Percussion?
I think I heard at least a floor tom.
Beatbox?
Beatbox. I also think you're missing the most obvious instrument. Background.
Is there one mola in there?
Of course. I think you found them all, Frankie, although I can't be certain because it just says miscellaneous instrumentation. And of course, we may never know given the secretive recording practices of one Les Claypool. I have a question for you, Frankie.
Sure.
What part of the body is Robot Chicken?
That is a great question.
I have an opinion on this, and I'll toss it out first. I believe that the body part corresponding to Robot Chicken is the appendix.
Why?
Do you need one to live? Not really. Meaning, can you skip this track and still enjoy Of Wales and Woe? Absolutely. Is it nice to have it? Sure. It's not excised from you, and it actually does serve some bit of a purpose. So, Robot Chicken's nice to have on the record, but I could certainly live without it.
Great.
Would you like to offer another body part in rebuttal?
No, I agree with you completely.
Beautiful. If you hold out your pinky finger, Frankie, that's about the size of your appendix.
I did inquire online recently what purpose a pinky finger had. I was pleasantly surprised to discover that it's actually pretty important.
Well, it would certainly help with gripping objects.
Exactly. Yeah.
As well as balancing that grip. One thing I learned is that much of the strength in your grip actually comes from your pinky and your ring fingers.
Yeah.
And so that outside of your hand is really important. So that pinky isn't there to look pretty. It certainly has a lot of utility. And you can also wear cool rings on it, and they don't get in the way when you're doing something intricate with your other fingers.
Oh, I got a little piece of an extra piece of trivia about Robot Chicken.
Oh, lay it on us.
There's a performance I omitted from my rundown. October 11, 2013 in Denver. We're talking about a Duo the Twang performance. Les burst into Robot Chicken, but he stopped and said, I have no idea how to play this song anymore. And he only sang the It's Alive portion. And he said, it must be a generational thing, referring to the fact that some audiences are only familiar with the South Park theme and not with Robot Chicken, and vice versa.
Even though they're less than 10 years apart.
Yeah.
It could be a generational thing with the It's Alive utterance on this track as well, because my mind goes straight to Frankenstein.
That was kind of a novelty at the time to see Les playing a keyboard on stage.
Yeah. Now it's become commonplace with Tribute to Kings, Conspiranoia.
It's interesting because I do recall an interview at some point where Les said that what made Primus was you had three guys on stage only, and you had drums, guitar, and bass only. Yeah. And I do recall him saying you'd never hear a keyboard on a Primus song. I guess little by little he started to expand his vision, and he started with that little keyboard that he had for Robot Chicken, and now here we are with that massive keyboard on stage.
I don't see him ditching that anytime soon. So that's a great catch. There, Frankie. That's funny.
It has been really enjoyable, not only in Conspiranoia, but he's also played it on Bob, and it's fantastic.
I must have missed that. I don't think I've heard that.
He's done the keyboard for Bob, and it does add this extra layer to the songs.
Drop a date and location on us, and sure. I will put that in the show notes for sure. Bob with keyboard.
And it's fun to watch because obviously Les stops playing bass and he plays keyboard.
Can't believe this, Frankie. We actually have a Primate's take for Robot Chicken.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Our good pal Eric in Australia says the following about Robot Chicken. Cash rules everything around me. Maybe not the biggest money spinner, but how could they not double down after South Park? There you go. I have to imagine that there was next to no money for the South Park theme upon recording it, but that the royalties afterwards were astonishing. And I would imagine that there was nothing for Robot Chicken at the time, and the royalties afterwards also nothing in comparison to South Park.
Yeah, the royalties for South Park must have been sweet.
Just an excuse to say that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So as long as we're on the same page. We have a few more here. Lots of thoughts on Robot Chicken. Skulligan Val says, love it. Perfect, dirty, drunk little carnival song. I feel like the absinthe is hitting just as I've stumbled onto the geek show at the sleazy end of the midway. Nice. Simon in Australia says, just let Primus do all the cool TV show intros. They have had great luck so far. We need a few more. Cam Covington, channeling my early 20s as well, says, yes, nothing like falling asleep with the TV on and waking up to, it's alive, unless his creepy and manic laughs at 1 or 2 in the morning. This show is pure brain rot, and the song fits it. I could not imagine my early teen through college years without hearing Robot Chicken or the South Park theme blaring loud from the old idiot box in the early morning hours. And for so much of my generation, Les has influenced and been ingrained in their life because of those two themes, and they don't even know it. Finally,
Brooks breaks it down.
A novelty for sure, but I like it. It reminds me a bit of the DVD menu from 5 Gallons. The song is a lot more fun than the TV show ever was. It's alive!
Now that I think about it, it was kind of hard to pick up the Wamola because we're so accustomed to listening to it the way that it's performed on the title track with the Frog Brigade.
I suppose, but he makes so many different sounds with it that I clocked it right away. I'm sure in 2 or 3 different ways too.
Yeah, I can think of Mushroom Man, the title track. It's been on other things as well, but here it was kind of hard to pick up for me. But yeah.
Oh, interesting. You're blowing up over there.
Gotta love Robot Chicken for sure.
I do want to throw it out there to our listeners, Frankie. If there is a specific Robot Chicken episode that supersedes all of them, that you feel is the greatest shining example of the quality of that show, its fulfilled potential, send the name my way. I would be glad to watch it. There's probably no way I'm going to watch all 220 episodes plus specials, even though they're 12 minutes apiece. Mostly because I probably don't have access to them with my current subscription lineup. BitTorrent is my friend. So we have South Park and we have Robot Chicken. If you, Frankie, could have Les and or Primus reimagine the theme to one television show, what would it be?
Wow. Frank Zappa actually did the theme song for Duckman, which is a fantastic avant-garde piece of music that I've always found really cool. And Lur being a huge Zappa aficionado, I think it would be incredible to hear Primus tackle something Duckman related.
Okay, taking on the Duckman theme. I like it.
What about you?
I would like to see Primus rearrange and perform the theme to the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
I just think they could do it and do it well. Think about it. If you hear the Primusized version of the Brady Bunch theme, when they're all in the squares looking at one another on the screen, how psychotic is that?
Trivia, there's a Fungi performance from around 2010 where you can hear Les sing the Flintstones theme.
Now that is a generational thing too. That's when he was a kid.
All I can say is nice palate cleanser. And what about you?
I think it serves its purpose. It's a nice little appendix. Robot Chicken, you've been tracked. Next time, Frankie, I'll have a bourbon and Coke.
And we'll go down some Primus history with a legendary character.
Primates, primatrons, people of Earth, robot chickens everywhere, animatronic poultry, no matter what sort. Thank you all for listening. Later days.
Willie Mace.